So we always talk about, hey, Vikings should sign this guy or trade for this guy or this and that. And you know why we do it? Because it's fun. People get so mad. It's like, but that's the fun part about sports. Hypothetically trying to improve your team at every turn. And now I got the big kahuna, the big Megillah. I got the monster of them all. And although it's extremely unlikely, but, so the Kansas City Chiefs and defensive tackle, defensive end, defensive dynamite guru Chris Jones, they're at an impasse, right? He's currently franchise tagged. He hasn't signed it yet. $16.126 million in 2020, but he's implied that he may pull a Le'Veon Bell and fully sit out this year, which, it makes more sense for Chris Jones because he is younger. He plays a more in-demand position than Le'Veon Bell, but say the Vikings swoop in, make a sweetheart deal for the Kansas City Chiefs, bring in Chris Jones, sign him up to a long-term deal. They can get it done. Rob Brzezinski, Capology Thug Life. It would make the Vikings Purple People Eaters 3.0 because I technically count Jared Allen, Ray Edwards, and the Williams Wall as Purple People Eaters 2.0. So this would be 3.0. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about today. Background, Chris Jones real quick. 6'6", 310, 2016 second-round pick out of Mississippi State University. Remember, he was the guy who went balls out at the combine. Literally. It was great. And the last couple of years, notably the last 3 years, outside of Aaron Donald, Chris Jones has been probably the best defensive interior player in all of football, full stop. You could easily make that argument. 2018 was his breakout year, 79 pressures, 50.5 sacks. He didn't even make the Pro Bowl, by the way, which seems stupid. Anyway, last year, 64 pressures, 9 sacks, helping propel the Chiefs to a Super Bowl win. EW. His PFF pass rushing grade has been ranked 6, 3, and 2 for defensive tiers the last 3 years, respectively. So he's growing, he's showing, he's a stud, he's an absolute beast. And also in the Chiefs scheme, he's played a little bit of everything. He's played 3 tech, he's played 5 tech, he's played no tackle, played edge, done everything, right? And the kid is an absolute force. And he only turns 26 on July 3rd. So happy early birthday to Chris Jones there. Who? Chris Jones. So he's an absolute dominant force. He's just barely scratching his potential, and he's about to enter his prime. And yes, he is going to cost a lot. And yes, trade compensation, it's going to be a lot as well. But, all right, so let's talk about trade compensation first. First, if the Chiefs did trade him, I think it would probably cost 2 first-round picks. I mean, if Jalen Ramsey is worth 2 first-round picks and you have to pay him, I think Chris Jones is certainly in that ballpark, even though the Chiefs are sort of lacking leverage at this point. I know it sounds steep, but in return, you're getting an absolute havoc wreaker in his prime. Actually, not even in his prime yet, who will solidify the middle of the Vikings defense. He's also great against the run, certainly helping that aspect as well. And just having that full-on penetrating force that the Vikings defense hasn't had since they let Sheldon Richardson go, since Sharif Floyd unfortunately succumbed to his injuries. So I mean, just thinking about it, it gets tempting. And I know everyone and their mom wants to hold on to the first-round picks on the outside chance that they trade up for Trey Lance or Trevor Lawrence or whatever. But if the Vikings are in win-now mode, you're telling me that the second-best defensive interior player to Aaron friggin' Donald, I mean, would not help things just slightly, just a little bit? Yeah. Second part is the money, right? So he is going to command Aaron Donald adjacent type money. So think of 5 years, $115 million at least, somewhere in that ballpark, averaging more than 22.5. So basically, you're getting second-rate quarterback money for a defensive tackle. But again, seems steep. Guy who's just barely scratching the surface of his prime could certainly even get even better. And he's a great player. I love him, and it's just Vikings do have $12.267 million in cap space currently. Would likely have to cut or trade Riley Reif. Where if they traded Riley Reif for Desmond King, picking up the best slot cornerback in the NFL, then you give up 2 firsts, whatever, for Chris Jones, adding him to that defensive line, then you already automatically remake the Vikings Zimmer Hellfire defense better than it was in previous years. And also, you're younger, you're moving towards the future, and you get to start Ezra Cleveland. Let's go. Because like we said, could you imagine, just close your eyes, imagine a defensive line with Danielle Hunter, with Michael Pierce, with Chris Jones, as well as Afadio Denebo rocking it out. That is Purple People Eaters 3.0. It really is. And then you sprinkle in Armand for Watts, James Lynch, DJ Wanham and company as well. Woo! My friggin' goodness. And initially when I brought it up, I was sort of met on the idea, but as I've just talked about it, and yes, 2 first-round picks, who cares? Yes, a lot of cap space, but we got Rob Brzezinski. The more I talk about, the more hyped I get, and the more I'm absolutely in. In fact, now, instead of a polite suggestion, the Vikings need to trade for Chris Jones. No, I demand Vikings must trade for Chris Jones. Right meow. So that is all. All right, your thoughts. Chris Jones, Vikings who? Chris Jones. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Pull us up on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull, production value.